Hey guys, it's Carrie Adam here with Running Moms, the physiotherapist and trainer. And in this video, we are going to be talking about your feet. And of course, most runners have heard about pronation and supination, and most people are over pronators, especially women, especially after you have babies, because oftentimes people will get foot pain after babies because of all that extra weight you have, all that extra fluid you have, and all that pressure goes down into your arches. You're not being mindful of your posture and your form, and just by natural anatomy, what happens is that because of the size of our hips and the shape, our knees kind of buckle in, and you can see my feet, right? When my knees buckle in, the inside of my feet, my plantar fascia there, it collapses, gives us that plantar fasciitis, which is awful. And what most of us will do, we'll go to the running store and they'll give us a shoe that corrects for that, and that's fine, but it's not really correcting the problem, and that's where we're going to bring your mindfulness back to correcting the root problem, the root cause of that. Some people get an orthotic, and that's fine if you've been assessed and all that. I don't want you to go changing any of that, but you still can be mindful of your posture, so you're not just left collapsing and making that worse, because over time it does get worse, and you want to try focusing on the muscles and building some strength to support that arch. So, and in running, you're pounding those feet, right? So every time you step and you hit the ground, you're again pounding that, and we want to correct that. So number one is shoes, of course. If that's an issue for you, you do want to support yourself always. But then you can do some work and some mindfulness to think about what's happening. So the first way to do it is, the first exercise I want you to think about is the squat. So when you're doing the squat, you know, by nature, and one of the biggest errors I see in a squat when people go down is their knees buckle together. And again, you see how that stresses the inside of my foot, it stresses that plantar fascia, and it stretches it, makes it worse. So what I want you to think about is externally rotating those hips a little bit. So you got your knees here, you're going to turn, because the root of that knees going together is actually coming from your hips turning inwards, okay? So I want you to turn them outwards. A great way to do this is to grab one of those bands and tie it around and give you a little bit of resistance to push off of. That alone in itself is going to externally rotate those hips just enough so that when you bend, look what happens to my feet. So my knees are going in, it's collapsing. Now all of a sudden I'm pushing out, and that arch is naturally coming up. So I'm keeping the pressure off that arch, okay? You can do it like this if you don't have a band, but it's a little bit hard on your back, so it's better if you have a band, or you're just mindful of externally rotating those hips a bit and coming down, you guys, okay? So that's a really great way to work on taking some pressure off of the inside of those feet. The other thing for us as runners is we need to be able to bend, get some dorsiflexion. It's called that bend of the foot up. Because with every step, you need mobility in your ankles. And again, with our sedentary lives, and we're not doing much walking, we can get really stiff. And then what's going to happen is all of these problems are going to manifest in our knees and our hips, and we get our tendinitises and our bursitis or our plantar fasciitis. So I don't want you guys getting any of that. So a good thing to do is actually, you know, a squat test. Okay, so you're standing, and I want you to squat down. Can you get into this position? And when you're in this position, you want to make sure that you're still in alignment, because you can also get into a position like this, but now you're collapsing those arches, your knees are buckling in, and that's not where you want to be. You want to be straight, toes forward, sitting back like this into a nice dorsiflex position. This can be hard. Don't do anything if it causes you pain, but it is a good test. Can you come from up, come all the way down in alignment, arches up, and push back up. If you can't, you know that you've got some mobility work to do in your feet. See you in the next video.